Ladies and gentlemen, Doug Cockle, a.k.a. Geralt of Rivia. Hello, hello.
Hello.
Hello! Thank you so much for joining us for our finale today. It's so good to meet you.
Oh, likewise. You know, I can fanboy a little bit myself because I played Detroit Become Human.
Oh?
How did you
fare?
Get all the way through it, unfortunately. I had to give it up because it was I was playing it because I was on a judging panel for a game award thing.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah, but I would have played it anyways.
Well, hey, man,
awesome.
sometime we can
both in it.
We're both in it, and you're in this game and a bunch of other games. I want to remind anybody who's tuning in that you can type !Doug in the chat or !Geralt, and you will find your way to Doug on Twitter. And he's also got a cameo, so he's got the ability to contact Doug in multiple ways. And Doug, I'm really excited and a little bit nervous that you're here. I hope that's okay.
Absolutely fine.
I've watched several interviews that you've done, and I hope I won't be repeating too many common questions, but we've got some from our viewers that have been pulled into the chat. So I'm going to ask you a couple of questions from the folks who are here, if that's all right. And
yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Maybe one or two from Amelia and me?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Brian.
This is super cool. To catch everybody,
big anime eyes.
Wow. The coolest thing about streaming on Twitch, Doug, has been meeting people like yourself who've come to talk about their experience working on the game. And I mean, Geralt is undeniably one of like the iconic video game characters of all time. And to have you here is like a true pleasure. So I want to get to the questions and stop my flattery.
Oh, cheers. Thank you, though, Brian. It's always nice to hear, flattery.
Yeah, I'm going to start with my question because otherwise I'll talk too much and then I'll miss it. This game is huge.
Okay.
You know that. The DLCs are huge. The world keeps going. So it's okay if you don't remember. But is there, perhaps, from either playing through the game, I heard in an interview that you've played Witcher 3 all the way through and some pieces of the first two games, is there a side quest or even a smaller beat or just a moment in all of the content that's in The Witcher 3 that you think really resonates or gets to the heart of who Geralt is and why Doug is Geralt? Is there something in the script or a sideline or a story that you were like, this is what I really connect to with Geralt and with this character?
Yeah, what comes to mind, actually, there are two things. And both of them involve Ciri. One is the scene in the game when you can choose to or not to have a snowball fight with her. Right?
We did. We had a snowball fight.
Good.
For sure.
That's the right choice to make.
We can take it easy the rest of the interview.
Well, that's the right choice to make if you want certain branches of the narrative to appear for you.
Okay.
But the other one is there's a cut scene, and I can't remember all the details of it now, but it's a cut scene of Geralt and Ciri, and they're in a green field or something like that, and they're laying on the grass and they're chatting, and then he gives her a piggyback ride and all this stuff. I'm not 100% sure why those two scenes kind of stand out for me. I think it's because, for me, I'm a father myself. I have two boys, and for me, I think that it's one of the things that makes Geralt the most human. I mean, obviously he is human. He's a mutant, but he's a human. But he's also kind of otherworldly, other humanly. So I think for me it's those two bits with Ciri that really kind of sum up for me who he is.
That's awesome. It makes me really happy to hear you, choosing, because there are so many like badass moments. There's so many like cool one-liners as you march away or whatever. And it's just the empathetic core of Geralt is something that actually I feel like is kind of similar to Connor in a way that like over the course of this game, we're really starting to see these little cracks in the facade and this, kind of assumption that people make. Oh, here comes this Witcher. He must be like this. And I feel like over the last 100 hours of gameplay, we've seen a lot of little, very human moments that you've I think cleverly peppered throughout the game, or maybe it's just depends on how you play it. But it really feels like every time I've been like, oh, Geralt's becoming this. He's a softie. There's some sweetness under there, and then he's like a total badass in the next scene. I'm like, no, never mind.
Well, that's also something that I think is so special about Geralt as a character, especially playing this game, is that there's so many different layers and colors of him. He is not just, he's not just a badass dude. He has so many complicated feelings, but then he'll let them out in just like one or two words that just really make sense. You're like, oh, I get exactly what you mean just by saying these two words in the way that you did. And I think you did such a beautiful, beautiful job crafting this character, and he is so much fun to play.
Yeah. There's a bunch of questions that I want to jump into, and this is kind of an overall one because it connects to a couple of questions people have asked. But what was it like for you to play a character in such a long-standing way? I mean, it's lucky for an actor to have a job, let alone to originate a character in the game form, because of course the books, everything's connected. But what has it been like for you to have a character that you've played over a very long period of time and to return to for the second game and then the third game?
Yeah, well, it's yeah. I mean, the answer to that is it's an honor. It's an absolute honor to have had that opportunity. Like you said, and you both know, actors are in and out of work and stuff like that, and it's rare for an actor to actually have. For me, it was 11 years. I think it was 11 or 12 years between Witcher 1 and the end of the DLCs. And that wasn't recording all the time, obviously.
Sure.
But to have had those 11 or 12 years to keep coming back to Geralt, it's not something that a lot of actors get to do. In the big sitcoms and things like that, Big Bang Theory and the television series and things like that, actors get to do that. But most of us I think most of us don't get that opportunity. To return to the same character again and again and again. So it's an honor. It's not something certainly something I hoped for, but it's not something I ever really thought I would have the opportunity to do. So that's what it's like. It's just like, I mean, I didn't even know when Witcher 3 first came out, because I'd done 1 and 2, and 1, it was this game that it just kind of came out of nowhere from this small Polish studio. It developed kind of a cult following. Witcher 2 came out, and it the whole world started to kind of notice. But Witcher 3, I had no idea what was going on with Witcher 3 until well after it came out. It just exploded in a way that I wasn't ready for, frankly. I mean, I don't mean like, I was ready for it, but it wasn't what I expected. I don't know why, because I kept getting hints from the CD Projekt people this was going to be a big thing. But I think because at the time I was also teaching acting full time at a university here in England, and so I was really busy. I was doing lots and lots of stuff, that was another acting job I was involved in.
Yeah, of course.
Wow.
That's super
That's
cool.
amazing.
This question correlates from Strawberry Coda, who asks about, was there an obstacle for you or a most difficult part of production or of finding the character? Or what did you find was, an obstacle you overcame in creating this character?
Well, one was just the voice itself. When I first started doing Geralt's voice in Witcher 1, it was a real push for my voice. And we were also, this is before some of the industry standards that we now enjoy were created. And we were recording, I seem to remember recording up to 10 hours a day.
Wow.
And for me at the time, Geralt's voice was really, really far down in the very lowest registers of my abilities. And I could barely speak at the end of each day. And I had to, go back to my hotel and drink lots of water and, honey and lemon tea and, various things to try and kind of recover for the next day. And we recorded that whole game, if I remember correctly. I think there were a few pickup sessions, but the bulk of the game was recorded over, I think it was a 7-day period, straight in a row.
Whoa! Yeah, they can be so efficient with video games, and also if you're recording in a booth, like that's so much material. Did you have all of it ahead of time by a long shot, or were you receiving things in the moment?
I think with Witcher 1, I don't think I received any script prior to recording. And this is all paper script as well. So all of the recording was done off of pages of script.
Oh wow!
So it was just sight reading. It was, and that's one of the things I love about video games. By the way, I don't know if you feel the same way. It's great doing stage and screen and things like that, where you have to memorize the lines. But there's something kind of almost improvisational about doing video games. Where you more often than not now I see a script before I go in to record because they just send it over as an email,
right?
A document, and I have a quick look through before we start recording to get a sense of the narrative. But back then it was just paper, and I don't think it was until sometime in Witcher 2 that they started sending me scripts in the mail so that I could have a look at it. Or maybe it was emails and I printed them out. I can't remember.
So for any game developers listening in, do you think it would have been an advantage to you to have the script before the moment? Would you have liked to work on it before? Or is there something about the spontaneity of it that you just got to make decisions on the fly and go?
Well, that's one of the things I really like about it. So yeah, I sometimes it's sometimes I just can't look at the script. On occasion, people have sent me 400 pages of script, and I'm just going, we're recording this tomorrow. I can't
right.
Can't read all this, but I'll look at it on the train or something like that, and try to get a sense of where we're going. But yeah, more often than not, unless I'm recording from my home studio, I often don't get anything beforehand. So it's just show up and go for it.
Well,
have you had the same experience, or is it different for you?
Depending on the project. Sometimes I see the lines for the first time right then and there as I'm in the studio, and other times we'll have it way ahead of time. So it depends on the project, I think.
Yeah. I mean, for Detroit anyway, I got them kind of in little batches. So it'd be like, here's kind of your next set, and we'd go and record, like a week. It's a similar thing that, took place over maybe 3.5 years, but like in a week, in 2 weeks, and another week, and then that was, it's not like somebody going to work every day in that kind of a consistent thing. It's very like constellations, you're like, yeah, I did this job somewhere in that part of the calendar,
Yeah.
This question, Doug, comes from Little Night Owl, and I've heard you answer this in other interviews, so I won't spoil your punchline, but who or where did you pull the inspiration for Geralt's gruff voice?
Oh yeah. Well, this was actually in the audition for Witcher 1, and the guy from CD Projekt, Boris, who was auditioning me on the day, really lovely guy, and I was in the booth for about 15 minutes, I think, for this audition, 15, maybe 20 minutes. And we tried various things, and he kept saying, okay, flatter, no emotion, really, really low down. And eventually he came up with, he said, Doug, think about Geralt as kind of a medieval Dirty Harry, Clint Eastwood in the Dirty Harry films. You can just imagine him, go ahead, punk, make my day. So that's kind of where
thank you.
Yeah, that's kind of where it came from.
That's super cool. So do you watch a lot of Westerns, or is that just such a part of the popular culture zeitgeist that you're like, I know this? I know.
I think I've certainly seen the first Dirty Harry film. And I do love Clint Eastwood. I mean, he's great.
We got to get you and Clint Eastwood in the same room someday.
Oh my gosh.
Just disagreeing and agreeing with each other in a gruff way. Pretending like you don't mind, but you really do.
Would you like a cup of coffee?
Punk. This question's from Sienna 800, who asks if you have a most memorable moment during production of the game, or it could be a bloopery kind of story, or a big breakthrough moment, or something in the booth.
Yeah, I don't know why this is coming to mind in this particular moment, but there wasn't a thing that occurred that I was surprised about, pleasantly surprised about. I went in one day to record, and I didn't know exactly what I was going to be recording that day. And I went into the studio, and the director came up to me and said, "Doug, we need to have a chat about this storyline." And she told me what it was all about, and she said, I don't think this is right. I don't think that we should do this, and I wonder if you agree. And I did, and so we called up CD Projekt, and we said, we have real concerns about this storyline. We think it might not be a good storyline for the game, or for you guys, and we're just a bit uncomfortable about it. And they agreed and cut it, this whole storyline. And the reason we kind of flagged it up for them was it was all about pedophilia. And I don't know if I just reread the books recently, actually, and I don't remember anything about that in there really. But you know, it was about Geralt kind of capturing a I can't remember what the storyline. I never actually performed it, so I don't remember much about it. I just remember that was the issue.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
it surprised me because CD Projekt was very particular about their scripts. You guys probably know because you both did Cyberpunk, and I just seem to remember they didn't change much very often. So yeah, it was one of those moments where you kind of go, wow, yeah, you know, me and the director and the engineer, the three of us, you know, got CD Projekt to make a major change to one of their, you know, part of their script.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
cool.
Sometimes as an actor, you feel like you're just kind of a puppet on strings. You know, you have certain control over certain things, but then you're just expected to get on with it and say the words and, you know, give them life and all that stuff. And I think it's rare that you ever get to kind of have that kind of input into an end product.
For sure.
Unless you're like,
and that
you
the
know, in a-
collaboration, expands to that degree of involvement. I watched an
Yeah.
interview where you spoke about how you felt that transition between working on the first game, the second game, and in the third game, feeling like you had less work to do to find the character because you'd found him over the past two games, and things were just kind of making sense to you in character as Geralt, or you'd
Yeah.
be able to, make these slight adjustments or recommend things or whatever. I'm curious if after working on 3 games playing Geralt, is there anything that Geralt has installed into the Doug programming?
Took my question.
Oh, did I take your
Yeah.
question?
But it's okay.
No, you finish up the question. Round it out.
I wanted to know if there was anything that Geralt taught you that changed you over the course of playing him.
Well, it certainly changed my voice. So now when I walk around the house and I see things that need to happen, and I literally don't try to do this, but I'll just be talking. You know how you talk to yourself occasionally, and I'll just be like, I gotta do the laundry. So yeah, in that sense, yes.
So he's your
changed
inner
me.
monologue?
He's my inner monologue. Exactly. That's the one. I don't know. That's a really tough question to answer because I think for myself as an actor, I think that I take a little bit of every character I play internally. I internalize it a little bit. And I think also that I give a little bit of myself to every character that I play. But Geralt was a slightly different one because, again, the length of time that I have been associated with him, I think that he's become a part of me that in ways I maybe don't even understand. I feel very, very, very connected to that character. I don't know. I could get I could wax lyrical about this, and because I do think that a good actor has to put part of themselves into a role, but in order to do that, they have to take something from the role as well. So there's a give and take between character and actor that has to happen if it's going to be a truthful performance. So yes, I'm sure he has changed me, but I can't point to any particular thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That-
it's too deep.
It's an interesting
Yeah.
image, though. The idea of like, not matter is neither, or what is it? Energy is neither created nor destroyed. So it's like you have to, in order for you to put some of yourself in there, you have to make that room. But I mean, it feels a little bit like Indiana Jones with the bag of sand and the gold thing. It's like, all right, if I'm gonna get my heart chakra thing in there, you've got to, it's a displacement image. For me, that's a big deal because I definitely feel like I wanted. I mean, actors want to be a bunch of different people. You're a million different people from one day to the next. So there's this like, I don't know. I'm excited you're here, and I'm nervous now, Doug. Okay, I'm gonna do what I usually do when I get nervous, which is ask Damon Hex's question. If you've played a round of Gwent, have you played Gwent at a table, Gwent with some cards, Gwent?
No, I haven't. I'd love to do that sometime. I have played Gwent. I'm terrible at it.
Oh no!
I never really got into collectible card games, and that's basically what Gwent is in a way. And so I don't really have the skills to play them.
We're gonna meet up. Someday we'll be at a convention.
Gwent, I lose.
I'm gonna find you in the lobby at the hotel sometime, and I'll be like, Doug, look, man, I got the box. I'm ready to go.
Oh, awesome.
Do you have a favorite Gwent card or a favorite secondary character? Who is it?
I don't know. I mean, there's so many. I love the female characters, Yennefer and Triss.
Yeah. Here's your girl Triss. I know you're Team Triss, right? This is.
Yeah, I am kind of.
Ooh.
It's funny though. Going back and reading the books, the reason for Geralt and Yennefer's their deep connection is really in there, and in the games, I think depending on the choices you make, you get it. But I think Yennefer comes across in the games a little bit more like a nan to Geralt. That's how I felt about it, anyways. But in the books, I think it comes across as this fiery relationship. They can't let each other go, but they also,
Can't stand each other.
Yeah, they're quantumly entangled.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which leads me to my next question from T Hobbit that says they heard that you and the other actors recorded in different places. If that's true, what was that like to act out the scenes either with someone or without anyone? What was that experience like?
Well, yeah, it's weird. And again, you both know this. It's actors we tend to work, or at least in our training, we tend to work with other people. And on stage or on screen, you have a costume that helps you get into the role. You have other actors to react to. You have an environment, a set, or a location, or whatever it is. So you have more things to kind of feed off of to do the work that you have to do. And in a lot of voice acting, unless you're doing performance capture or motion capture, my experience anyways is it's only very, very, I think I've only done it once where I've actually recorded a game with another actor in real time. And that was a game called Twin Caliber for the PS2, I think it was, a long time ago. There were two main characters, and they were both together in the game the whole time. So they brought us both into the studio, but we were still in separate rooms, but we were actually interacting in real time. And so that's the only time I think I've ever done it. I forgot what the question was now.
About working.
Yeah.
I mean, basically, are you the thing of working with playback? Are you playing the scene with just kind of your imagination of what they might do, or I mean, it's a tricky conundrum.
Yeah, well, I think a couple answers to that question. One is I think that as an actor, you have to use your imagination in a slightly different way if you're alone in a booth. And if you're playing a main character, quite often you don't have the playback to interact with because you're often the one recording the scene first, so other people can react to you. But yeah, having the playback is really, really helpful. And I mean, this is one of the magical things about it is that, I mean, I love the interaction with the director. And having a good director for a game is really, really important. we had 3 for Witcher 3. There was the main director, Kate Saxon, and then there was Damien Goodwin and Mark. I'm going to forget his surname now. I've forgotten his surname.
We'll edit it in. It's
Mark.
going to sound exactly like you just said it perfectly. We'll fix it in post.
Yeah, so I mean, the 3 of them really knew what was going on, so they were often able to, not provide me acting necessarily, but provide me enough context that I could, guess at what the other characters were going to do. And you have the script as well. You see their lines, so you know what they're going to say. But yeah, it is a different kind of challenging for an actor, I think.
Well, you've done a great job, because we're really digging on the relationships between these characters, and I mean that's the biggest, the most difficult choices we've had to make pertain to these relationships between these characters. And like in my mind, I just love Geralt and Zoltan hanging out and playing cards, and like for me, you kind of have to just like, it's a suspension of disbelief, right? It's the theatrical thing of saying not trying to figure it out too much, not trying to go too far behind the curtain.
Yeah.
I have a couple of questions that I'm going to lump into a new hybrid question to be respectful of your time, because I know you're in a different time zone than us, and then we'll get on to our mission and complete the main story quest. We just played through the final preparations where we met with Triss, we met with everybody up in Dandelion, Yennefer. We've rallied all of the sorceresses, and with Avalok, we went into a portal and came through all these other totally different dimensions. So there's a question here about what it is that you might like to try as a artist or as a performer, or you can even make it about Geralt. But if you were to go through a portal as Doug or as Geralt into any universe, any book, any movie, any TV show, any video game, what would your altered universe be like? Where would you teleport to?
Oh, that's an easy one. I would teleport to Middle Earth.
There you go. Right on.
Yes.
Nice. I feel like you'd get along there. I think Geralt could hold his own there.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I absolutely love Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit, and I would want to teleport to some place pleasant, I think.
Yeah. No, the Shire.
But yeah, that would be fun. Yeah.
Just kick up your feet and chill. Oh, this is. Go ahead.
I'm curious if you have any advice for anyone who is either looking to get into voice acting or make games. If you have any advice for young artists.
Oh. Yeah, there's lots of advice I could give you. If you want to become a voice artist, my advice is always to be an actor first. It's not required. You can do voice, because being a voice artist isn't necessarily just video games. It's it could be commercials or continuity on television, or it could be advertisements on the radio, or there's lots and lots and lots of things that voice artists do. If you specifically want to get into games, though, I think that at least having some training as an actor is a good thing, because your director is going to talk to you as if you're a trained actor more often than not. And so having that experience is I think, invaluable. But having said that, I know people, Troy Baker, he wasn't an actor before he started doing video games. He kind of got into it almost by accident. He was a musician, and look at where he is now. So, there's a certain amount of raw talent that, can carry you quite a ways as well. But that's my advice. I would say, get some actor training. It can't hurt.
No.
Sure. You worst case scenario, you have a little fun. Do a play or something. Well, I want to take a chance to remind people they can check out !Doug in the chat. We'll get them a link to meet up with you on Twitter if they want to contact you through Cameo. You have a page on Cameo as well where you record voice messages for people. So guys, be sure to check that out. And I know you have a game coming out called Tales of Iron that looks really awesome, and so are Speed. Can you tell us a little bit about that, or any other project that's like a near release that we can tease?
Oh, yeah, Tales of Iron. I can't remember the release date, but it's soon. It's sometime in August, I think. And and I'm the narrator in it, and I haven't played it. I've seen what other people have seen that the company is Oddbug Studio is released, but it looks like it's going to be really good fun. So you play this prince, a rat prince, and I don't want to give too much of the story away, so I
Sure. Well, we can drop the trailer on people during our break. We'll send everybody a link.
Yeah. So you play this rat prince who has to take on the throne, and has to protect his kingdom from the evil toad armies that are coming and looting and pillaging his kingdom. And it's just got some really cool, funky stuff. It's like honestly, when we recorded, we did some pickups June, I think it was, and they were showing me some of the concept art and various other things. And I said to them, I can't not wait to play this game. It's kind of, I think it's wonderfully unique. So yeah, definitely check it out. Tales of Iron.
It looks awesome. The trailer's super cool. Our moderators will share the link with you guys in the chat during our hydration break, so you can check it out. And Doug, I know you're across the pond, and the eve has come for you, and we have this is a pretty big game, so we got some main story quests to go. Do you have anything else that you want to share with fans of The Witcher or of Geralt, or no spoilers, but any pro tips before we fumble to the end?
Just play the game. It's great. If you've watched Brian and Amelia playing this through, just go play it. I think it's a different experience when you're the one with the controller in your hand.
Totally.
And you're the one having to make those decisions. That's what The Witcher is all about. It's all about having to make those choices and knowing that there's going to be consequences, and some of those aren't going to be good. And more and more games are doing that now, which is fantastic. But yeah, before Witcher 3, before Witcher 2, that it wasn't quite, the multitude of branches in the tree weren't quite so big.
Well, Doug, thank you for paving the way for us, and for other games like Detroit Become Human or Quantum Break, or we stand on the shoulders of. Yeah, you were. That's right. You guys are both in the same game.
Really?
Yeah, you're both in Quantum Break.
Oh my gosh! I had no idea. How exciting!
Well, Doug, we stand on the shoulders of giants, man, and that's you. So thank you for bringing Geralt to life. Thank you for making this incredible performance and character resonate with so many people, because we got a lot of messages, a few more that I couldn't get to, of course. So thank you, everybody, for your questions. But Doug, it's very clear from everybody who's here, very excited to have you here, and that this character and these games mean a whole lot to people. So thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful. That's fantastic. And thank you so much for inviting me on. And to everybody out there watching, stay on the path. See ya.
Thank you, Doug. We appreciate you.
Yay.
And we'll talk to you soon, bud.
Cool, yeah.
Yeah. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and thank you again so much. We really appreciate you joining us, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, and have fun. Enjoy the close. Do you think you're gonna finish it tonight?
Yeah.
We'll play through the main story quest, and of course we've got DLCs and side quests and things to continue with. But
we're getting the Wild Hunt tonight.
Tonight, it's going down, Doug.
Excellent. All right, I can't wait to see what you do. I'm gonna try to pop back into the stream and just see where you're at. I don't know if I will, but I've got your Twitch stream up on my other screen. So
cool. I'll just always have this sensation that Doug is watching.
Yeah.
We're doing it for you, Doug.
All right. Have a great playthrough.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
We appreciate you so much. Thank you again, Doug. Take care. Bye-bye. Yo! I'm a total nerd, and I'm really happy now.
Wow, that was
oh
really
my gosh,
cool.
This is the best day of my life.